You ready?
Ready.
All right. So what's going on, guys? I'm here in Bangkok, Thailand in the Siloam neighborhood, Satorn area, and I'm here with my good friend Evan.
Hey, everybody.
I've actually met Evan about a month ago or so, and I'd say I consider you a good friend.
Yeah, fast friends, a lot of shared common experiences in our past. Yeah.
Exactly. A couple things about Evan. He's a former military just like myself. He's done exceptionally well during the military and after the military, where he's able to be financially responsible, and at this point, at the age of 36, is able to live off of investment income and just live the free nomad lifestyle of being fiscally responsible, financially independent. And it's very possible to be able to do this in countries like Thailand or in the Philippines and Southeast Asia, as long as you guys have some financial responsibility and financial acuity. But in this video, I'm just more interested in sharing Evan's story and having Evan tell us about his backgrounds, his beginnings, and how he's able to achieve financial independence and what strategies he uses to achieve financial independence and personal freedom. And at the age of 36, he's able to do that and retire comfortably, more or less, yeah?
Yeah, for about the last 4 years, I haven't had a real job.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. And I'm sure a lot of people are jealous, and we want to know how you're able to achieve financial independence and personal freedom and be able to live here in Thailand.
Yeah, if you've never heard of this theory of living off of investment income, it probably sounds a bit strange and foreign, but it's a real thing. There's a lot of people who do it. It's achievable, I think, by anybody. Anybody is from a country with a good economy and the ability to work as much as you want. And I'm happy to share my story and just let people know that living this kind of lifestyle, it's really possible, and it's an option.
You served in the Army just like I did. What was your job in the Army?
Yeah, I was in the intelligence field, which was great because the Army spent almost 2 years sending me to different schools for languages, for intelligence training, and I picked up a lot of really valuable skills. It's not just about having a degree, it's about really acquiring these legitimate hard skills. And so I did my 5 years in the Army, 1 enlistment, I finished my contract, I got out, and I immediately got a job using those skills overseas. And this may sound like, I don't know, maybe it's not repeatable by other people, kind of a niche job to have, kind of a rarity. But what it comes down to is I got a job that paid by the hour. A job that required skills that paid by the hour. And I went and found a job where I could work a ton of hours. So for 6.5 years, I worked 12-hour shifts in Afghanistan. So being an hourly employee, not salaried, I got to rack up all those hours. And being in Afghanistan, the military puts you up in their housing, so my housing is paid for. I was living in a 40-foot shipping container with another guy, 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall. Maybe it was only 20. Actually, I think it was 20 feet long.
Yeah.
And the electricity is paid for, the water is paid for, your food is paid for, your health insurance is paid for, so you don't spend any money. You're just working 12 hours a day, not spending any money. And that's when I realized, man, I need to invest and put this money to work for me.
To completely backtrack, so you did your first enlistment for 5 years
Yep.
in the intelligence community.
Yep.
Can I say what you did, or should I just keep that hush-hush?
I was a human intelligence collector.
You're a human intelligence collector.
35 mic.
You're a 35 mic.
Mm-hmm.
So you did 5 years, gained skills that you learned through the Army. And once you got out, for many of you guys that don't know, once you get out of the Army and you start contracting, that's when the big bucks come through. That's when you're getting paid substantially way more than what you would get paid as a soldier, as a service member. So you end up contracting, and did you start off with a pretty high overall salary in your first year and eventually grew from there?
Well, if you break it down by hour, it's not really that much more lucrative than a lot of other technical jobs. But the fact that you get to work 12 hours a day and put in all those hours, that's how you make so much money. Hour for hour, it's comparable to, I don't know, any tech job in the US probably, but you you get to work a lot of hours, and you do get a little bit of uplift for hazard pay because you're in a war zone.
And you were working in Iraq and Afghanistan as a contractor.
I was a soldier in Iraq, but then I was a contractor in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting paid overseas pay, your room, board, food, housing,
Yeah.
everything was already accommodated for.
Yeah.
And for a lot of you guys that don't know, if you're deployed overseas, whether as a service member or as a contractor, tax-free.
I think it's only the first 106,000 approximately.
First 106,000 is tax-free.
Yeah. After that, you're taxed.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And how many years, and you did that for how many years?
I was in Afghanistan for 6.5 years.
6.5 years.
As a contractor.
And
yeah.
in the beginning of your first year, did you start learning more about investing and take us to your journey of learning how to invest in the resources?
You know, I remember being a kid, probably 7 years old, and I was sitting in the car with my father, and there was some news story about somebody winning $1 million in the lottery. And I said, Dad, what would you do if you had $1 million? And he said, oh, I would put it in this fund. It pays a 7% dividend, and I would have $70,000 a year, and I could retire. And I remember that, and it stuck with me, I guess, because when I started to make money and save money and get ready to invest, that was my first thought was, dividends sound pretty sweet to me. So I just researched constantly what are the good dividend paying funds and stocks and ETFs, and which ones have long histories of never missing a payout, which ones have long histories of raising their dividends every year. So I just built a portfolio of dividend stocks, some of which paid higher rates, but don't really raise their dividend every year. But I also had, I don't know, maybe 30% in stocks that do have that dividend growth history to account for inflation, so that I would continue to get paid more and more every year.
So it was a combination of your father implementing that financial responsibility and acuity
Yeah.
at a young age, and while you were overseas, you did a lot of research on dividend stocks. And would you also consult with your father about, what's cool, what's hot in the market right now?
Oh yeah, we talk all the time about different investments.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're big nerds about that.
And what year was this when you first started investing in dividend stocks? Your first step?
2010.
2010 in Afghanistan.
Yep. Yeah.
Were you the only person, the only contractor doing this, or did you have other colleagues of yours that you guys would go over personal financial plans?
Yeah, there was a few who were into it, but probably not to the level that I was.
At that time, which dividend stocks was, if you can remember, was considered hot?
I have no idea what's hot or what's not, but I just look at the history of the payout and see if the cash flow can cover the dividend safely, and if they have a history of raising it. Those are what I look into. I like closed-end funds,
Yeah.
not for the growth, but for the higher yields. I like energy. I like real estate investment trusts.
Now, how much of your salary did you end up putting in investments, such as in dividend stocks?
I think I was able to save and invest 97% of what I was making because I had no expenses.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of saved.
There's
and
nothing to
invested.
spend money on.
Yeah. Nothing. You didn't want to buy anything off Amazon. There's nothing that you wanted to splurge to send back home while you were in
You wake
Afghanistan.
up, you eat breakfast, you go to work, you go to the gym, you watch a TV show, and you go to sleep.
That is a more extreme case where you're able to bank at 97%. I would encourage people to save at least maybe 20 or 30% of every paycheck and put it into investments. But 97 overall, that is that major financial discipline.
Yeah, the only thing I had to spend money on was vacation every 6 months,
Yeah,
and even then the company would buy the plane ticket, so.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Did you get into anything else other than dividend stocks?
Yeah, I started getting into real estate, learning how real estate works, researching, and this was after the crash.
Of 2008.
Yeah, after the big housing crash, real estate bubble burst. So prices were still headed down through 2010 into 2011. So I started buying real estate, sight unseen from 7,000 miles away. I bought some land and flipped it, and then I bought a 4-unit residential building, nice big residential building in Texas, and I bought a personal residence for myself that was also a 4-unit building that I was able to get great owner-occupied financing for because it was my residence, but I had the other 3 units rented out. So that was very profitable. And then I started also investing in syndications, real estate syndications.
Real estate syndications? What's the difference between actual physical real estate and syndications?
Well, you can buy real estate in your own name, or you can buy real estate in the name of your company if you set up a company, or you can invest in a syndication, which is where a general partner will seek out limited partners to invest and pool their money and then purchase real estate for the purposes of cash flow or appreciation. So as a limited partner, all I'm doing is investing money with a general partner who makes all the decisions and acquires the property, fixes it up, takes care of the management, and then pays usually quarterly distributions to the limited partners. And then upon refinancing or sale of the property, then the limited partners will get whatever percentage they own of the building back.
Would you say, in a sense, it's kind of similar to, like, maybe, let's say, crowdfunding real estate?
Yes and no. The thing about a syndication is that it is not liquid. You cannot decide when to get your money out. It's up to the general partner to decide when he wants to refinance it or when he wants to sell it. Limited partners have no say, so you can usually return a bit more in a syndication. Like, you should be getting paid more in a syndication, a greater yield, because of the illiquidity of your investment. I think a lot of the crowdfunding ones, you can take your money out after a certain period of time.
Yeah.
So for that reason, the yields are going to be lower because it's more liquid. And it trickles down to a REIT, a real estate investment trust, is the most liquid because with the click of a button, you can buy and sell it whenever you want.
Yeah.
So the yield is going to be even lower because it's so liquid.
What year were you near the middle of your contracting gig? Were you still contracting in Afghanistan? At what point did you feel like, I'm more than enough comfortable?
My goal was not to hit a certain number of net wealth, but to hit a certain number of reliable monthly cash flow. So for me, that was $6,000 a month. When I had $6,000 a month of reliable cash flow coming in from the dividend stocks, from the rental real estate, that's when I felt comfortable and confident enough to give notice, quit my job, and start living this life.
Now, at the very end of your contracting gig, did it feel like to the point where you're just constantly focusing on your investment portfolio and you're seeing your monthly returns to the point where you kind of didn't really care too much about your contracting gig?
No, I loved my job. I love working. I missed the guys that I worked with. It was challenging and interesting work. I did enjoy it. What I didn't enjoy was having to go to a boss and say, "Hey boss, can I please take vacation 3 months from now? I want to go to my buddy's wedding." Having to ask permission to take time off just got old, and I wanted to set up a life where I never had to ask anybody permission ever again to go to see my family or go see friends.
Was your boss, for the most part, pretty forgiving, or not forgiving, but he was pretty chill about you taking vacation? Or
No. Towards the end there, I was only allowed to take vacation every 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. At the beginning, it was, I think, every 4 months I could take vacation.
Yeah.
But they kept stretching it out the longer I was there.
And then, so that was maybe one of the last drawing points where, like, all right, I'm more than enough suffice for my investment income from dividend stocks, from real estate, that you're like, peace out,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And what year was this when you said goodbye to them?
That was 2018.
2018?
Yep.
Okay, so
almost 4 years.
About 4 years.
Yep.
So after those 4 years, what did you do afterwards?
I traveled the world for a while. Went to Australia, went to New Zealand, Europe, had a good time traveling, and then I wouldn't say that I got bored, but when you don't have a job but you still have skills that are in demand, I found different opportunities presenting themselves. Different contracting 1099 jobs would pop up that sounded interesting, and because I was free and had the ability to drop everything and get on a plane and go do a job, I started taking little short-term jobs, a few weeks here, a couple months there, whenever they sounded fun or interesting. So I think in the last 4 years, I've taken 4 gigs.
4 gigs that you got to be your own boss for the most part.
Yeah, I'm a 1099 independent contractor. The client tells me what they need. I get on a plane, I go do it, finish it, go home.
And this is a combination of working for the U.S. government, for private entities.
Yeah, always for contracting companies that are contracted by the government. Yeah.
Gotcha. And during this time, did you, in regards to your investments, did you branch out to other different avenues?
Yeah, I've always had an interest in derivatives, especially index options. It's such a fun game. So,
for a lot of the guys that don't know too much about derivatives or options, what's the best way to describe them? Like a good like beginner.
If you purchase an option like a call option, that gives you the right to buy an underlying security at a certain price by a certain day. And conversely, if you buy a put option, that gives you, as the holder of the put, the right to sell the underlying security at a specific price by a specific day. And I had been selling options since 2010, actually, just for a little bit of extra income, just to juice my returns a little bit, because I'm invested in boring things like utilities and REITs and energy stuff that doesn't move a lot. So it's usually pretty easy to sell options on those underlying securities for a little bit of extra yield. I've been doing it since 2010, and I always really enjoyed it. So once I quit my W-2 in 2018, I really started investing a lot of time into learning more about derivatives and different strategies, and I've been building different options-based investment systems since then. It started out as a fun hobby, but honestly now it's become profitable, and I think half of my income comes from these options strategies.
Off of options and derivatives, more so than your dividend stocks and your real estate?
About half my income is from derivatives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Might be something I might need to take a look into.
It's a lot of fun. If you like games and statistics and probabilities, spreadsheets, which I make spreadsheets for fun. So.
Oh man, spreadsheets scare the shit out of me. I gotta learn more from you when it comes to that.
They're so fun. Pivot tables.
Now for a lot of the guys that are watching this video that are that know absolutely nothing about investing or living off of investment incomes or generating passive income, what are some few steps that you can advise the audience out there, some strategies? Somebody that has little to zero financial acuity that wants to develop passive income.
Well, if you're looking to live this type of lifestyle where you live off of your investment income and have freedom and flexibility to travel and do whatever you want whenever you want, the first step is to know that it's possible. And that's why I'm happy to talk to you, because I think a lot of people don't know that it's possible just to live off of investment income. And I've been doing it for almost 4 years now, and it's very possible. So now that you know it's possible, how are you going to do it? There's more than one way to do it. You can do it through real estate, living off of the rental income. You can do it through dividend stocks. You can do it just through equities. One common strategy is just to buy the total market index. And once you have 25 times your annual expenses in the total stock market index, you can reliably sell off 4% per year. And the other spreadsheet nerds have modeled it, and you're not going to run out of money. That's probably the simplest way to do it. And honestly, if I had done that, I'd probably be a bit richer today. But I'm happy with the way things turned out.
Yeah. So beginners index funds, you would say?
That's the easiest.
Easiest. Index funds, and then eventually move your way over to like maybe physical real estate or REITs.
If you're interested in real estate, you think it's fun, you think it's interesting, go for it.
What about crypto for a lot of these younger guys?
I'm not a crypto guy. I think my goals are just different. If you're starting out with a small amount of money and trying to grow it quickly, crypto could be a vehicle to gamble and try to make big returns in a short amount of time. I don't need a 100% return. A 9% return sounds great to me. You know, like I'm super excited to get 9%. I don't need any more than that. So I just have never been into it.
I mean, would you say signing up for a Robinhood account, a TD Ameritrade account, a brokerage, like just any kind of brokerage account would be a good starting point for someone, and to start doing some research on index funds?
I'm not a fan of Robinhood. I'm very loyal to Interactive Brokers. They offer a really powerful suite of tools where you can invest in. You can buy pretty much anything: equities, bonds, currencies. I think you can do cryptocurrencies now as well. To me, any other brokerage is ridiculous. Interactive Brokers, in my opinion, is the best because they offer really powerful tools and the lowest margin rates in the world. Nobody has lower margin rates than Interactive Brokers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I talked about this in my previous video in regards to just lifestyle, financial responsibility, avoiding lifestyle inflation. What are some things that you can tell the people out there of, how to live day-to-day habits? Because one thing is to save money, but you're going to have to sacrifice certain things in able to achieve your path towards financial freedom.
Yeah, I mean, isn't life just trying to figure out what you want? What we want changes, and knowing what you want, it's hard to know. So you just have to want it. If you want to buy a fancy car and have a car payment, if you're into cars, go for it if that's what you really want. If you want fancy clothes or expensive dinners and that's really all you want out of life, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you do want to become financially independent and be able to live off of your investment income, most people, I think, are probably going to have to tighten the belt a little bit and not blow all their money. And you got to invest it. You got to invest as much as you can, as quickly as you can.
So would you say avoid the Tesla for the time being?
If you want a Tesla and that makes you happy, get one.
Yeah.
If you want to be financially independent and not have a boss anymore and get to travel the world, invest that money and build yourself a stream of passive income.
Are there other tactics or strategies that you would get into, learning how to save money? I know geo arbitrage was one thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're talking about for people starting out.
Yeah, people for starting out.
I felt really thankful to be able to work in Afghanistan, and I know there's a lot of other jobs like that. I've known people who work on oil rigs out in the Gulf, commercial fishermen who, or people, expats working in the Middle East, doing any kind of job, who, like me, take that opportunity to rack up a bunch of hours, and then in jobs like that, your housing is often paid for, and you probably get a little bit of tax-free per diem money. Other expenses are paid for. So, I think if you're looking to make money quickly so that you can save a lot and invest a lot, there's a lot of jobs out there all over the world where you can you learn a valuable skill, put it to use, rack up a bunch of hours, have your housing paid for, and those investments will grow quickly. Thanks for letting me talk to everybody. I hope, I don't know, maybe somebody will see this and who didn't know that type of lifestyle was possible, and maybe a light bulb will go off like, oh, that's how people live off of their investment income. It's very possible. I recommend it.
What I find really interesting about Ivid's story is that, he's not trying to promote some sort of, Ponzi or some like multi-level marketing type of, thing or whatever, something that's not been fully audited. This is somebody that was financially responsible, that actually invested in traditional markets, traditional US financial markets, stuff that you can find anywhere, any article, TV, blog, video, resources are out there. It's not like he's investing in something shady or anything. It's just traditional index funds, saving money, real estate. For somebody that's been able to do, something in what's nearly accessible to everyone else, it's very inspiring to hear that. I do enjoy talking about investments a lot, way more than I do, and it's good to trade ideas with people such as Evan.
It's a fun game. Yeah.
It's a very fun game.
The investment game.
Dude, thanks for taking the time to talk to me, talk to everybody out there.
Yeah.
Any last words?
No, I don't think so. No.
Awesome. We're over here in the Marriott in Satorn, outside over in the pool, drinking some beers, and just living off the good life. If you guys have any more questions, leave it on the comments down below. Just to kind of go over what I said in my previous video, to delve more into topics of investing, index funds, real estate. I started dabbling into crypto myself in a little bit, so those are relatively different kinds of asset classes that you can explore, depending on what you feel most comfortable about, your risk tolerance. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can hit me up on Instagram for questions.
I'll link Evan's Instagram in the description down below. Your inbox is going to be flooded. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to be interested.
Yeah, I just want to help some people maybe.
You're a good guy. Good people. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next video. Take care. Thanks, man.
Was that okay?
Yeah, it's great.